Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's live, which is on a beautiful, frosty December the 4th. And today, I actually want to summon forth your speaking in confidence even more than usual, because we're going to talk about something very interesting today. We're going to talk about the idea of what you should do if you are met with an unexpected presentation. What if someone said to you, right, I want you to present in 10 minutes? And just imagine if that presentation was a high stakes presentation where you needed to perform, where you needed to achieve a result. What would you do? What would you do after initially panicking? Of course. Well, that's what we're going to look at today. I want to share with you from my own experience because it's happened to me. I've had to do this. Only 10 minutes to prepare. I want to share with you what I did to deliver a successful presentation. And as always, if you are watching right now live, please comment. Let me know where you're watching from, where in the world, where on the planet. Also share with me what you are planning on doing this weekend. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's hear what's going on in your life. And even if you're watching on the replay, do the same. Comment, let me know you're watching this, let me know what you think, and of course, if you have any questions on the topic, I will answer them. You've just got to put the comment in there, and I'll make it happen. So let me get into this little story of how I had to present with only 10 minutes to prepare. So I went along to a networking event one day. It was back in the good old days when we actually saw each other in person, and we sort of, awkwardly stood around talking to one another before the event started. And it happened that on this particular event, there was meant to be a speaker. There's meant to be a 20-minute speaking slot at this event. But the speaker for that day did not show up. Maybe he didn't like public speaking. He should get in touch with me, right? But the speaker didn't show up. So everybody starts panicking. What are we going to do for this 20 minutes? And then someone says, well, Kyle can speak. He should do it. And then everyone says, yeah, he should do it. He should do it. And before I know it, I'm the one doing it. I've got 10 minutes before I'm doing this 20-minute presentation. I had no expectation, no plan of presenting that day. I'm in this situation. So how am I going to deal with it? What am I going to do now that I'm there? Well, I think the first thing you have to do when preparing for an unexpected presentation is you need to define what you're looking to achieve. You need to define your purpose. What's the purpose of your presentation? What do you want people to do afterwards? Are you trying to sell a product or service? Are you trying to inspire people with motivational words? Are you trying to encourage people to see things from a new perspective? What is the goal here? Why are we doing this? You need to define that, and you always need to define that, but especially when you've got limited time to prepare. Because once you have defined what your goal is, then you can start to create the end of your presentation, your call to action, and your take-home message. So hopping back into my story, my goal for this presentation was to try to encourage people to come along to a webinar. I had a webinar coming up in about a couple of weeks, I think. I wanted to see if I could get people to go to that webinar to learn more and enhance their public speaking skills. So that was my purpose. And what I did alongside that was, from that key purpose of wanting to get people to go along to the webinar, I knew that the end of my presentation had to be about the webinar. It had to be telling the audience about the webinar, what it's going to be about, and why they should come along. So I knew what the end was going to look like. And I also decided that I wanted to define what my message was. Because my message when I speak about public speaking is for people to always just to try and invest in public speaking, to realize that if they can invest in their speaking, if they can develop this skill set, their confidence will increase as a result. And I think we could all do with a bit more confidence in today's society. So that's always my cornerstone message. So I had the call to action, I had the message, I knew what the end of this presentation looked like, even though I only knew about it 10 minutes ago. What I then looked to do was I hopped back to the start. And I asked myself, how could I open up this presentation? How could I start this topic to get us on the track, on the path to reaching that call to action about the webinar and the idea of investing in your speaking to invest and improve your confidence? So that was my question. And what you've got to do there for the start of any presentation is create a hook. Just create something, an idea, which will set you on that path. And I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to talk directly to my audience about their needs and wants. So because I had so limited time, I just kept it simple. And I started by saying, just imagine if you could stand up and speak at networking events like this and not feel a single nerve. How much would that allow you to come across better when you present? How much more authority would you have if you could present with full confidence? Well, that's what we're going to look to do today. And that's how I started, roughly. That's what I did for the very beginning of my presentation. So what that did was it gave me context. It let the audience know where I was going, what the presentation was going to be about, and what they should expect from it. It also created a little bit of curiosity. How can I present without feeling nervous? That's going to be the topic. You better listen to find out. And that's what you need to do too. So when you have this presentation, when you've defined your end with your call to action, go back to the start and think, how could I get people intrigued about this topic? And create your hook around that. So already now we have an ending. We have a decent beginning. Now we just need to fill that middle bit, okay? And what I recommend when you're limited for time is just ask yourself, what are my 3 key points? What are the 3 key points I want to make in this presentation, okay? The great thing is the number 3 is so memorable. A lot of people, they use other numbers, got it out eventually. They use other numbers when they're defining their strategies and ideas. You know, we've all seen this, the 27 steps to weight loss. But here's the thing. No one can remember all the individual 27 steps to weight loss. But you could remember 3 steps to weight loss. So when you're under pressure, when you've got limited time, just go with 3 key points, 3 main points, which you want to explore. So naturally, my key 3 points were going to be about how to overcome the fear of public speaking. That's what I promised in my opening. That's what I need to deliver in the middle of my presentation. And that's what would line up nicely with my call to action at the end, which would be an extended webinar on how to further improve your confidence in public speaking. So define your 3 key points, because once you've done that, now you've got quite a hefty presentation there. You've got a decent presentation, which should take up at least 10 minutes, if not more. And of course, for each of your 3 points, use your stories, your facts, your figures, your statistics, use your experience, share anecdotes, which back up your points, back up your claims. So that's how you prepare for an unexpected presentation. First, define what the purpose is. That will give you the ending, the call to action and the message. Then look back at the start. Think, how could I open this? How could I set this up to create some curiosity and context? Then go with your 3 key points in the middle, which will connect your start and your end. And if you do that, you will be able to deliver a compelling, interesting, and highly engaging presentation with very little time to prepare. It will be so good, people will think you will have prepared for months, but you'll know you only prepared within 10 minutes. One thing I do want to tell you about today is, of course, my book, The 5 Pillars of Effective Public Speaking. If you enjoyed this little section today about structure, how to prepare a presentation, then you're going to love this book, because there's a whole chapter dedicated on how to structure a presentation. In fact, it's the longest chapter. And I think in some ways it's the best chapter, because it gives you the full blueprint of how to prepare, regardless if it's a 60-second, 60-minute, or 6-hour presentation. Now, this book is available in paperback form, like you see here. ebook form, which is great if you want to save the paper, and also audiobook form, which is great if you love listening to books when you're on the go like me. You can get it on Amazon. Just type in the 5 pillars of effective public speaking as it is shown there, and it should come up. Right now it's sitting on 16 reviews, and the vast majority of them are 5 stars. The only 2 which are not are 4 stars. So, you know, even those who aren't crazy about it still like it, and I've gained quite a lot from it. But above all, my key message, my cornerstone message today for this 10-minute live is if you are met with the prospect of having to deliver a presentation with as little as 10 minutes to prepare for it, firstly, take that opportunity. You won't regret it. Any time to speak is a great time to speak. And secondly, use this system to make it a success. I'm going to head off now. Enjoy your weekend. I'll catch up with you next week on the next live at Friday afternoon once again. And above all, I wish you the very best with your next presentation.